Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to build a super practical toolkit for real-world Spanish conversations. Whether you're traveling, meeting some new neighbors, or just stepping into a brand new language environment, the absolute foundation, the bedrock of any language, is simply knowing how to greet someone and introduce yourself. We're going to break down the exact phrases you need so you can walk away today totally ready to connect. And the way we'll do this is simple. I'm going to explain the context to you in English and then give you the exact example in Spanish. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. We're looking at 4 simple steps today. Number 1, the essential first impressions. 2, asking for a name. 3, checking in on someone. And finally, number 4, the real-world dialogue. So, let's start right at the beginning with section 1, the essential first impressions.
Right, so when you first meet someone, or say invite them into your home, you obviously want to offer a really warm, friendly greeting to set a positive tone, right? In English, we just say a simple hi or hello. To do that in Spanish, you say hola. And if you are actively welcoming someone into your space, the English idea of welcome translates to bienvenidos. It just immediately sets this bright, stress-free vibe for the whole conversation.
Now, depending on when you're actually running into someone, your greeting is going to change as the day progresses. It's exactly like saying good morning or good evening in English. It just adds a really nice touch of situational awareness. So if the sun is just coming up and you want to give a cheerful good morning, you'd say buenos dias. If it's past noon and you want to switch to good afternoon, you use buenas tardes. And as the sun goes down, good evening becomes buenas noches.
Moving right along to section 2. Asking for a name.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the cultural difference it highlights. In English, we basically just ask, "What's your name?" to everyone. But in Spanish, there's a really distinct line between familiarity and respect. So if you're talking to a peer, maybe someone younger or a friend, you use the informal version, "¿Cómo te llamas?" But, and this is absolutely crucial, if you're speaking to an elder, somebody in authority, or you just want to show that extra polite respect, you shift gears to the formal version, "¿Cómo se llama usted?"
Of course, if someone asks you, you need to know how to answer. In English, we usually say my name is. In Spanish, you have a couple of really great options. To literally say I call myself, you use me llamo, followed by your name. Or, for a more direct translation of my name is, you can say mi nombre es. And hey, if someone simply asks you, who are you, which is ¿quién eres?, you can confidently reply with I am, which is yo soy. That brings us perfectly into section 3. Checking in on someone. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole spectrum of emotion. When someone asks you, how are you, or ¿cómo estás in Spanish, you don't always have to say you're great. Let's map out these responses in English first and then hit the Spanish, going from the best to the absolute worst. If you are feeling very well, you say muy bien. Just a standard well or good is bien. If you're feeling just okay or so-so, you use regular. If things are genuinely bad, you say mal. And if things are very bad, it's muy mal. Actually using these different degrees makes your conversations feel incredibly authentic. But wait, let's say you bump into a really close friend. You probably don't want to be so stiff and formal. In English, you'd ask what's up or what's happening. Well, Spanish has some awesome casual slang for this. You could ask, ¿qué onda? And they might reply with the English equivalent of nothing, which is nada. You could ask, ¿qué tal? And the laid-back reply for not much is no mucho. Or you might just ask, ¿qué pasa? And they could reply with just here, which is aquí.
Awesome. We have all our building blocks. Now for section 4, the real-world dialogue. Okay, here is the setup for our dialogue. It's a brand new morning, and our 2 characters, Maria and Jose, are meeting each other for the very first time. Watch how seamlessly they use the exact tools we just covered. Hola, buenos días, ¿cómo estás? To translate that back to English, she's saying, hello, good morning, how are you? It's literally the perfect, polite opening. Jose responds beautifully. He answers with, hola, buenos días, estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú? Breaking that down into English, he's replying, hello, good morning, I am very well, and you? Notice how that little ¿y tú at the end politely loops the question right back to Maria. It's a great conversational trick. So Maria catches that loop and moves the conversation forward. She says, estoy bien, ¿cómo te llamas? That translates to, I am well, what is your name? She's using that informal name inquiry we learned earlier, establishing a friendly peer-to-peer vibe. And then,
To keep the momentum going, Maria enthusiastically jumps in with her own name, Me llamo Maria, ¿y tú? Meaning, my name is Maria, and you? She shares her information first, to be polite, and then bounces the inquiry right back to him.
Jose closes that information-gathering loop simply and clearly. Me llamo Jose. Or in English, my name is Jose. Now that they both actually know who they are speaking to, it's time for some basic politeness. Maria says, Mucho gusto. This is an essential phrase. It translates directly to the English, nice to meet you. Jose replies with a fantastic, highly useful, single word, igualmente. In English, this just means likewise. It perfectly mirrors the sentiment that it's a pleasure to meet without him having to repeat the whole sentence. So efficient, right? And finally, as they part ways, they wrap up the conversation. Adios, meaning, of course, bye. And just like that, step by step, you have completely read through a full, natural Spanish conversation. You now have the exact phrases, the cultural context for formal versus informal, and the structural flow to actually start talking to people. So I leave you with this question. With your shiny new toolkit in hand, who will you say hola to today? Seriously, go out there, break the ice, and start connecting. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.